Standards for the design of a tablet. Emerging user interface design principles. There are many standards that designers live by when creating and developing tablets. And these are some of the typical standards: easy navigation, clean and simple design aesthetics, 3D images when used sparingly, and clean typography. However, there are many emerging design standards that are becoming the typical standards of today to produce successful tablets. And there are four that I'm going to focus on in this presentation that have proven to be some of the most beneficial and supportive of tablets and applications today. Simple and focused applications, standards of editorial design, consistent applications, and consistent metaphors. So simple and focused. Users are task-oriented and they want to be able to power up their tablet and jump right in and use their applications. And one way to do this is to enhance simple and focused apps. And the way you can enhance simple and focused apps is by including elements that will be immediately noticeable to the user. For example, this typewriting app called iWriter, you open it, it's self-explanatory, and you understand exactly how it's used, what you do with it, and it caters to the task at hand. One of the most important points to take into consideration when developing tablets is editorial design. And editorial design is something that deals with the digital screens. How will the screen be used, how it will be seen, and how it will be engaged by your users. And there are three major categories: bed, knee, and breakfast. Bed is how close the tablet is to your face. You're lying in bed, the tablet's really close. Knee, the tablet's medium distance from your face. You're sitting on the couch, the tablet's on your knee. Breakfast, it's farthest from your face and it's propped up, allowing you for hands-free reading. And these are all categories that should be taken into consideration when dealing with tablets, because typography is one of the major components of successful tablets, and these are major components of successful typography. Consistent applications. These are applications that are not just copies of other apps. They're actually apps that take into consideration the standards that are typical and emerging, and they use them and combined together create consistent applications. And there are four questions to ask yourself when trying to develop these applications that are consistent, and they are as follows. Is the application consistent with design standards? For example, are the buttons round so that people can recognize them as buttons? The buttons aren't square, people wouldn't recognize that. Is the application itself consistent? For example, the typography. Is the typography consistent throughout the entire tablet? Can people predict what will happen when they perform a task? Pretty simple. Just like with the iWriter, they open up that application, the task at hand is to write, they understand that. It's simple and focused. Is the application consistent with earlier versions? Pretty self-explanatory too. You do not want to create a completely new application. Enhancing the app is something completely different, and that's great and that's fine. Consistent metaphors. And consistent metaphors are great. They allow people to relate their tablet to their real world. However, the only thing to watch out for is that when your metaphors don't express or clarify their function. And one question to ask is, will this metaphor help the user understand the function? For example, bookshelves, most typical metaphor used. People see books on a bookshelf, that's what you see in the real world. Address books, this is exactly what an address book looks like with the tabs, and the notebook over here, notepad, this is what a notepad actually looks like. So these three are relating metaphors to the real world. So in conclusion, there are many design standards that are emerging, the typical ones: easy navigation, 3D images used sparingly, and there are many emerging standards that one should take into consideration when developing tablets. And so you should really take part in the revolution as a designer, and this will help you create more successful tablets and applications.